And greetings and welcome to the QCast. This is season 6, episode 24. We're now officially in the off season as we thank Marcus Kahn for the great QCast interview last week, the head coach of the national champs. We're officially in the off season. And one of the things I like to feature in the off season is coaching movement. And we have a big one in the CCIW here, the home base conference of the QCast. And that's big news out of Millikin this week as Lori Kearns announced that Tom Noonan is the new guy at the Big Blue men's basketball. Tom, I'm sure your head's spinning, but thanks so much for being willing to join me on the QCast. How the heck are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm honored to be here. I appreciate you having me on. Excited to talk about Big Blue basketball and just Division three hoops in general.
I'm just curious to know from your standpoint, the perspective that you have, or if you do have, on how competitive these jobs are. I know when the Milliken job opened, when Kramer went to Maryville, and this opened. I mean, I'm getting a million direct messages from coaches. Hey, tell me about this Milliken job. And I I think I know a lot of the people that applied for this thing, and some of the people that didn't even make it into the final rounds, and what their resumes are. You
Mhm.
got some D3 head coaches in the mix here. You have D2 folks. To get through that, Tom, and be the guy. I mean, what's it like to get selected in such a competitive field?
So it's very humbling. I'm a huge fan of all levels of basketball, and I had I've been out of this league, I've been in this league, and I really admire the coaches that are in this league. So I understand just the quality of men that are leading programs here. It's very humbling to be a part of that. It's overwhelming because anytime you take over a new task, there's just so much to do. And what are we going to do first? And my
Right.
main focus this week has just been pouring into our guys, but extremely exciting. I've heard from a lot of people, try to connect with as many former players and alumni, and then prospects this week as well. So humbling, overwhelming, most definitely, and then exciting as we move forward.
Tom, as you think about kind of the job and what you're tasked with here, there was a lot of Twitter chatter when Kramer left around like, okay, Milliken's looking for a coach again. Who's the right guy? What do they need? One of the things, not that my opinion matters, but the thing I said was like Milliken needs somebody that believes in Milliken. Number
Mhm.
one, like I compared it to IW hiring Ron Rose. And I think at the time they had a lot of different options. They could have hired some current D3 head coaches. They could have hired people from some other levels, but I really thought what's worked out is that IW hired a guy that believed in Illinois Wesleyan and had a passion about it. And I think Milliken has done the same here. Like I know that you're a Milliken alum. Like the fact that you believe in the institution, like this is your place. Do you feel like that's a huge advantage? You've got to feel that way. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think anytime you head into the job, you need alignment, and that's something where I'm not sure if historically, I mean, in recent history, that Milliken has had that alignment. I think Coach Soderberg really brought that alignment of what the university is about and the character of people in the program. I think he brought that alignment, and that's what I hope that I can bring. Decatur has a lot of great things going on here, but I'm connected with a lot of those people
Yeah.
who have been here. Oh, Bob, are you there?
I still got you. We're good. We're good. I
Okay.
still got you. Yeah, you're
All
good. You
right.
just froze for a
Hey,
second, but you're good.
day two with the computer. Uh, but no, it's one of those things that I know a lot of people in the community. Hopefully, that can bring some community alignment. Uh, but knowing what Millikan is, knowing that type of university, I think that we can bring in guys that meet that and will commit to it, and then we'll continue to stay here. So, I'm a lifelong Decatur guy. In all of my
Yeah.
life, I thought I'd get away, and then it keeps coming back, coming back. So hopefully, I can provide that alignment and that consistency for Milliken.
Yeah, I think being from Decatur and being a Millikin guy is just such a huge advantage in terms of what you're selling and how you're able to sell it. I had some people that were in the search process sending me notes like, can you tell me about Millikin men's basketball and can you tell me about Decatur? And I'm like, not really. I could tell you what I know as a guy removed from it, but boy, to be
Yeah.
someone that believes in both of those things is huge. Um, Tom, you're an alum of Millikin. You played
Yes.
baseball, I believe, right? You're a baseball player for the Big Blue?
Yeah. My basketball skills were not recruitable. Uh, so basketball skills were not recruitable, but I absolutely love basketball. Uh, I played baseball. I was a catcher here, and then I moved to the outfield. Not a great career, but I was a worker, and that's what I hope to bring in professionally. Is like I'm a worker. When I was a student here, I worked in sports information. So Tim Littrell was the coach
Yeah.
here, and I just remember coming back after games. Jarrett Brown was his assistant. He's now head coach up at East Peoria. And coming into their office post game and be like, these guys get to do basketball for a job. Like I mean, I couldn't wrap my head around it. But I went into teaching, and then just fell in love with coaching basketball, and then continue the journey. And here's where we are today.
Yeah, you were at St. Teresa High School there in
Yeah.
Decatur as the head basketball coach, also a history teacher, I believe,
Mhm.
correct? Um,
Yeah.
just curious, by the way, like the background of having a teacher's background and bringing that into coaching. That seems like a really good synergy there. Like, do you find yourself tapping into your teaching background as you coach?
Oh, all the time. I'm a big believer in learning styles, just understanding different learning styles. And I think that's one of my strengths because I taught all freshmen for 17 years. I taught all freshmen. So freshmen come in, into that ninth grade year. They're all different types of level of maturity, all different types of levels of how you can connect with them. And that's something that I've had to do is kind of learn how to connect with each group. And that's one thing when I met with our guys on Tuesday morning, um, is that I need to know what their learning styles might be because I know how I process things. I
Sure.
want to know what we're doing and how we're doing it. But a lot of our players might want to know, well, first, who's doing it? So
Right.
I have to learn them, learn their style. But I most definitely have the heart of a teacher. So when I look at something on paper or on film, I'm trying to identify learning styles, just like in the classroom,
Right.
rather than an X and O.
Yeah, I gotta believe that background as a teacher is hugely important for what you're going to do at Millikin. You were the head coach at St. Teresa High School from 2010 to 2021. You were a
Mhm.
history teacher also. You were then an assistant coach at Millikin under Kramer Soderberg from 2021 to 2025. The past year, you've been the AD at St. Teresa High School, so went back there
Yeah,
and now here you are at Millikin. By the way, really successful high school coach. 620 plus win seasons at 205 wins to 92 losses. You made an appearance in the state championship, the state tournament in 2015, meaning you won the sectional, which is a really big deal in a great
yeah,
basketball state like Illinois. 5 conference titles, 2 regional champs, 1 sectional champ. Um, that run you had kids that went to different levels of
yeah.
college basketball when you were the head coach at St. Tree. You had D1 kids, D2, D3. What, Tom, about the recruiting process that you saw from the other side do you take into this gig now? Like you saw D1, D2, D3 coaches come try to get your guys at St.
Yeah.
Teresa. What did you learn from that? What did you like? What did you not like? That kind of thing.
Well, I always liked when a coach would come in and coach and the assistant coaches would come in and connect with my entire staff. And then they would also connect maybe with some other individuals in the school because I think that showed that they were interested in that kid, but mostly they were interested in the circle of support for that kid. And
Right.
especially Division III, there's some transactional spots about this recruiting, but it's going to be relationship based. And what I really liked about my experience as a high school coach getting guys recruited is just when coaches would spend time with that coach, build the relationship. And even if they didn't get that kid, when the next kid came around, we could help place that kid in the right program. So I think that's a
Right.
really big part for me and my staff is that we're going to have to get into those high schools, pour into those coaches, build those
Yeah.
relationships. And then I always liked when they knew more about our kid than just what they could do on the floor.
Right. Yeah. I think having seen the recruiting process from the other side, again, has to be another huge advantage for you in thinking through how you want to attack this, because this is competitive. If you think about where Division III is right now and how many great programs there are around, if there's a hooper somewhere in central Illinois that can play at the CCIW level, there's probably 15 D3 schools that are on that kid, right? And so, and
Yeah.
you've been part of that. You've been part of that on the Millikin staff. Is it
Mhm.
pretty incredible to you, Tom, of just how competitive D3 recruiting has become in the state of Illinois?
So when I jumped into the college game, and I told Coach Soderberg this, I was just surprised at the depth of ability at the Division III level. I always knew that if you got to play, since I was a Division III athlete, if you had the opportunity to play at that next level, it wasn't just, hey, I want to play, I get to sign up for it.
Right.
It is extremely, extremely competitive. So I think, yeah, the depth of talent and I think one thing that blows me away about the CCIW and just about some of the kids that we've dealt with in the recruiting journey is just how far away people are going to be willing to come for a basketball opportunity in the CCIW.
It does make a big difference. I guess it's like the Division I level where there's levels. There's
Hmm.
high major, and the CCIW, if this is a thing in D3, is a high major conference. And it doesn't mean that a kid wouldn't pick some other school, but I do think playing in a great league is a big recruiting competitive advantage for sure, and it makes a difference. I've seen that close up. In terms of Millikin basketball itself, Tom, it's interesting because look, when this job opened up, I had people messaging me saying like, "Can you win at Millikin?" I'm like, yes. Like every time my guys go down to Decatur, like this year we were a shot away from losing. The
Yeah,
team with Matt Larritz that went to the Elite Eight the last time, Matt Larritz hit a buzzer
yeah,
beater to
yeah.
win. I think back to Coach Littrell's teams and like Shannon Cloyd and Eric Smith and those dudes. So like now look, those are rivalry games. Like Millikin gets up for Illinois Wesleyan and vice versa. So maybe I have this jaded impression, but I think absolutely Millikin can get enough kids to be great in basketball. Certainly, you wouldn't take the job if you didn't believe that. But
Oh, most
what you
definitely. And that's
talk
one
about that?
thing. Yeah, I asked myself, like, all right, can you win here? Can you win here? And when I hopped on board with Coach Soderberg, that was a really big question, even for Coach Soderberg. Like, can we win here? But you can if you have the right people.
Yeah,
And you hit on that. Can you get enough right people on your bus? And we've got great dudes in our program right now. We're kind of knocking at that door, knocking at that door. The biggest thing I think that Millikin needs is just that consistency. We need that consistency, but we also need dudes that have that edge about them because um, that's anywhere in the CCIW, though,
right.
right? We go up, and I think the year that Coach Baines played and Elmhurst played in the national championship game, we beat them.
Yeah,
And so
and same
this
year,
league
and
is
same year
just,
could have beaten Illinois Wesleyan. That same 2022 year is
yep,
again Matt Larritz had to hit a buzzer beater. Same
yeah.
season.
And this year, Illinois Wesleyan goes to the Elite Eight, and Millikin down here, we've got you on the ropes in those last couple of
The
minutes.
ropes is putting it mildly.
Yeah, and so I mean, yeah, it's going to be a physical game. It's going to be a competitive game. I believe we can win here. It's just continuing to invest, and hopefully, I can give a few more different ideas. but continue to get our player development to the point where we can get more guys on the bus that are able to take us that next level.
And I guess the reason people ask that is look, I mean, the last CCIW championship at Millikin was 1989.
Mm-hmm.
And the last NCAA win was 1988, the year before that, which is pretty amazing to me. Again, because I've seen all the Illinois Wesleyan Millikin games and other Millikin games throughout the years,
Yeah.
and the Big Blue have had some really good teams. Millikin all time is fourth in the CCIW in all time championships with 9, so fourth all time. Now, a lot of that damage happened, before, 35 plus years ago,
Yeah.
of course. What's your take, Tom, on like that's a long stretch of no titles? Is it just that lack of consistency? There's been several coaching changes for the last 15 years, right? Is it the coaching changes? Is it just the inability maybe to get enough depth in the as you step back and look at this, like why do
Mm-hmm.
you think no title since 89?
I think there's a couple of changes. No doubt the coaching in 5 years here, four
Yeah,
years there, 5 years here. So just changing identities. A lot of what I admire about like a Purdue is they know who they are.
yeah,
And with Matt Painter, Purdue's kind of always known who they are, from Gene Katie to Matt Painter. They know who they are, and hopefully, I can continue some of that consistency with Coach Soderberg. That humility of we know who we are, so therefore we can know what to work on. I think there's been a lack of that historically, where every coaching change has been a shift one way or a shift the other way. The other thing is being a Decatur native is the town has changed quite a bit.
yeah,
Population, we've changed quite a bit. Jobs wise, we've changed quite a bit, but the resources are there. And if you walk
sure,
around our campus, you'll see those investments where I think as the town changed, some of the resources and investment, maybe we were waiting on it or there was a gap on it. But if you walk around campus right now, we got a brand new weight room, just redid our locker room, new turf on football, new turf on softball. We're hosting the College World Series for softball. Like we've got all these things going on. So you're seeing, as the town may have changed in the 90s and early 2000s, those resources are coming back on campus right now.
the league itself, it's a hard league. We mentioned like it being a high major league, put that in air quotes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard league to build in because
Yes.
you walk into a league where Illinois Wesleyan was just in the Elite Eight, has been good year in year out. Carthage has it rolling pretty good. Elmhurst is consistently a top 2 CCIW program, really really good. North Park it is fielding good teams most seasons. Carroll's getting better, etc. I think the interesting thing about the league is, you don't have right, not yet. Augustana is not yet where they were with Coach G.
Yeah.
That monster was rolling for 15 years, and North Central is not yet back to where they were under Todd Reardon. So maybe it's a little better league to walk into than say walking in 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But the league itself, Tom, is a tough one to build in because there's no one on the schedule you look at and say, well, that's 2 wins. There's nothing close to
Mm-hmm.
that in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the first year when I joined the staff with Coach Soderberg, we made the CCIW tournament, and I just remember looking at, all right, how do we get to 8? How do you get to 500? And you always have to protect your home court as best as possible. You got to steal some on the road. But it is and that's what I'm hoping I can bring is that consistency of identity that, all right, we're not gonna build it fast. We're going to build it through consistency.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, this league it's an honor to be in the league because a lot of these coaches, when I was coaching at St. Teresa, I would buy their DVD or I'd go see them speak at a clinic and I'd steal a lot of their stuff. So hopefully that knowledge kind of helps me game plan for them here.
You mentioned having a lot of talent in the program returning, and we won't go through all that, but I tell you what, I'm a huge fan of this Lane Thomann kid. Is it Thomann or Thomann? Thomann?
Thomann.
Thomann. Okay,
I think Thomann. He's never
no
corrected me.
no
Yeah.
H. Thomann.
Yeah.
This guy is a beast. 6'4", junior guard. I think he just lifts weights all day, but somehow he lifts weights all day, and he also shoots 51% from the field
Yeah.
and 47% from three. I felt like in the games when we played Millikin this year, I like there was a final possession where if Millikin makes a shot, we lose. And I'm like, please don't give it to that guy.
Yeah.
And thank God they didn't. Um, this guy, I assume he's returning. I hope he's returning because he is a superstar, first team all conference guy. Like you got to be super excited about this guy.
He's and I know people say it all the time, like even better person, but he's a guy that I would sign up to be with every day. Like if I'm going into any sort of competition, if I need to hire somebody for a job, I don't know what the job is. This dude's a dude that I'm going to hire because that mindset that you say about like the weight room. I know he was in there twice the other day, uh, and then he's always in the gym. He was just supporting our baseball team this morning. He's a dude that gives and gives and gives. I can't wait to kind of see what we can do with him. But I also know what you mentioned. Those statistics and his abilities are sure going to be highlighted on everybody's scout report.
Yeah.
So my job now is not only how do we use him, but how do we play through him to get our other guys better. But he's a very special kid.
In terms of like recruiting, obviously this all comes down to, as Coach Bridges like to say, getting off the bus with the best guys. Um, in terms of recruiting footprint, I feel like Decatur is in the middle of a lot of great hoopers. When you look like all different directions, if you go like into like, East Effingham and Teutopolis and all
Mhm.
Champaign and all that stuff, and just Decatur itself, Springfield, going down to St. Louis, obviously up into the Bloomington area and surrounding, the 1A All-Stater from Delavan or wherever,
Yeah.
Chicago. Is there a recruiting footprint that you have to be great at, Tom, to get the right kids coming off the bus?
Well, I think anytime that you take a job and it's not your Division One where you're getting on charter jets, you got to own your backyard. So there's going to be a major emphasis on 100 miles an in. We've got to own our backyard. And as you look at this league, you look at some of the all conference guys that we have. Uh, you know, Here at Millikin, my time here, our all conference guys are Calvin Fisher from Monticello,
Yeah.
JT Welch from Bloomington Central
Bloomington.
Catholic, and now we got Lane, who's from DMAC. And then up the road, there's some Central Illinois guys for your alma mater that didn't go too far to college, and,
That's
and
right.
they're all league players. So if we can find a way to get that footprint 100 miles and in, those are the kids that are going to come here. They're going to stay. We got a lot of those kids that have that work ethic. So my focus is going to be a Central Illinois energy,
Yeah.
100 miles and in. Now, the area that's been very, very good to us, and I would like to continue that, is the St. Louis region.
Sure.
And Coach Soderberg, he's an absolute legend down there, Missouri Player of the Year. So his last name goes a long way there. But now people down there are very familiar with Millikin, and they know our guys like Nate Strotter. They know Pat Orgliasso, who's playing for us right now, and they know our St. Louis guys. So coming to Millikin in the St. Louis area is a cool thing right now.
Yeah, I hate to highlight on the QCast, but St. Louis is kind of a D3 hot. I mean, we've been trotting out, Matt Larritz and Nick Roper and Kason Lawrence and Brady Keel, and I kind of hope to keep it quiet, but I guess I think people have figured it out already. Certainly Milliken's figured it out, and you guys are in there all the
Yeah,
time. We're trying to be in there all the time. It's a great place for hoopers for sure, because
absolutely.
you got D2s on those kids, you have NAIs on those kids. Sometimes you don't have a ton of D3s on those kids. So
Mhm.
it's a great place to get guys. Just a couple other questions. We're talking to Tom Noonan, who's the brand new head coach of the Big Blue at Millikin. Division three, you're a D3 guy. You went to a D3 school in Millikin and you've been an assistant. Now you're the head coach. What about Division three interests you enough, Tom, to want to be the head basketball coach at Millikin?
Well, when I got into coaching, I think with a lot of people are like, all right, we're going to climb and we want to go Division One. And I had an opportunity to go to a Division II, to West Virginia. So that's like how much I wanted to get in this thing. And it fell apart the morning of. I had a kid that ran away from home and showed up at my door the day I was going to accept that job. I go, all right, that's not the move made no sense for my family, but I just wanted to do it.
Sure.
I had an opportunity to take a volunteer job down at a Division I in Florida. Didn't make sense for my family. Uh, Millikin, it makes sense for my family. Division III makes sense for my family. And I had interviewed for a Division I job, and one of the assistants came to me. He goes, "Hey, we're not going to hire you, not for any other reason than guys at this level and the job that you need to be in, they don't stay married and they're not great family men, and that's just not what you are." So Division III to me meets all of what I want for my family
Sure.
and what I want for my profession. Being with Coach Soderberg the last 4 years, awesome husband, awesome father. So I've been able to see the model at this level work for my family. And that's something that really, really intrigues me with it. And I just think as things change in the basketball world, that Division III has that true community feel about it still. Guys that are staying multiple years,
Yeah.
people that are coming here and they're giving back to a school that they've gone to for 4 years. That meets my personality.
In terms of what you just mentioned, just college basketball right now in the landscape, I think in general, D3 kids are still staying 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Noah Cleveland's in the portal, but
That's okay.
yeah, I'm sure you're not sad about that. But
Yeah.
like Noah Cleveland's kind of a unique story. I'm not sure he was ever a D3 guy. I th-
No.
I think
Yep.
he's a D1 guy that ended up in D3,
Yeah.
and assuming that Noah leaves, I think that's a different story. Generally all of our guys stay 4 years. There haven't been a
Mhm.
lot of guys in the portal except the guys that had a fifth year of eligibility that went to grad school. What's your take, Tom, on the landscape of college basketball? It's a weird watching the D1 transfer portal stuff and all the money floating around. I think D3 is immune to that to some degree, but if you look at like some of the best D3 players from this past season, Kai
Yeah.
Robinson from Mary Washington, Noah Cleveland, they're in the portal. Like, what's your take on what's going on in college basketball here?
It's such an interesting change. I got into this in the college game just 5 years ago, and it's changed so much, in that time. Um, I think it's the way society's going a little bit. I don't think that the values of community and being a part of something are gone. But with anything that you do, you look at return on investment. And, I can't blame those kids for trying to chase
Yeah,
another higher level,
yeah,
another opportunity. Um, but it's very, very interesting where I still want to build this thing. I want to build this program all on relationships. So for us, usually when we've gone to the transfer portal, it's somebody that we recruited in high school or somebody we had a
yeah,
talk with in high school. So it's very much still relationships for us. And like a campus visit, it's still about meet the people, go with the people. Um, and I hope Division III keeps that.
yeah.
Uh, but I know that's not the way it is at those higher levels right now.
It sounds like the way you're putting it is similar, I think, to what Ron Rose would say, that Ron's primarily built his program overwhelmingly on 4 year players,
Mhm.
relationship based, get the players from high school, develop them. I think he's only had 6 transfers in 20 years. But like, I think you can't ignore transfers anymore. Like plugging Cason Lawrence in from Truman State this year was a huge game. I mean, the kid shot 41% from three. And
Yeah.
you give the ball to Noah, you kick it out to Cason, and he's open. That's a basket. I think you can't ignore the portal, but I think what you're saying is you want to build your program on 4 year guys, but you're not afraid to look for the right perfect Cason Lawrence type fit. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Lane Thomann started his college career at Illinois Springfield.
Yeah.
So the things we look at, and I can't remember more than three things. So I call it the ABCs, right? Academically, we have to serve you. There's got to be a basketball fit, and then you got to be high character. So as we look at that in high school, we're still looking at that in transfer portal, but it's a little bit of that speed dating. I feel a lot better with that speed dating process if either we knew you in high school or we know your coaches.
Yeah.
But if you have an opportunity to elevate your program and you can do it right away and it meets those ABCs, I think you have to be open to it.
I agree with that. I think anymore, it's just there's so many guys in the portal because of what's happening above that I think you have
Mm-hmm.
to look in there. Like Cason Lawrence is a good example. He was IW's biggest recruit in high school, and they lost him to D2. They knew
Mm-hmm.
him already. It's perfect.
Yeah.
So I think I'm totally with you. Like there's no program in America that can say we don't we don't look at the portal. I know like Emory, national runner up, they have not had a bunch of transfers like the rest of the U or some of the UA like NYU has. But I think Jason Zimmerman told me like, yeah, we're checking out we might have a portal kid this year. I think you just have to. Um,
Yeah.
Tom, I really appreciate your time and congratulate you so much again. Again, I think I have a pretty good sense of who applied for that job, and man, I just to come out of that thing, it's such a big deal, and it says so much about you and the fit and how they view what you're going to do for your alma mater. So, just a huge congratulations on my end. I'm going to be rooting for you, except for sure 2 times a year, and if you're in the conference tournament, it could be 3 times a year that I
Yeah.
just root very hard against you like big time. I know that when we go to the Griswold, there's going to be a bunch of people yelling at my guys. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be in like the 50s, and it's going to come down to the last shot probably. But other
Yep.
than that, I'm definitely rooting for you to build this thing because Millikin can win. And like, look, Olivia Lett had this thing rolling with
Yep.
Elise Knutson in that whole group. Like, why would it be any different in men's basketball? You get a couple hoopers, and there you go. So, Tom, what would you leave everyone with today on the QCast? Certainly, Big Blue Nation tuning in, D3 Hoops Nation. What are your final thoughts today on the QCast, Tom?
Well, I'm once again thankful for this opportunity. I'm thankful for opportunity to jump in at Millikin, and most definitely, it's a place we can win. It's a place we can win. We're going to win with the right people. We keep pouring into it, and it's going to be a great challenge because any place in the CCIW is a great challenge. Uh, but yeah, tune into Division III basketball, tune into CCIW basketball, and we got some dudes that play in this league. I'm excited about it.
I know a lot. I've got a lot of Milliken friends, a lot of trash talk. At the after the buzzer of the game and the Griswold, there's a lot of text back and forth. So I know all my Milliken fans are really excited to have a Milliken guy coaching the team and taking over for Kramer, who did a great job. Obviously, going to do a great job at Maryville and D2. But I think everyone's excited, Tom. Best of luck to you, and we'll talk to you down the road as you start to win some ball games and get this thing rolling. Is that a deal?
All right, sounds great. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks so much, my friend.
All right, thanks, Bob.